So I was hoping to find out some more details following the situation that happened between the Peterborough Petes and the Erie Otters, but let's make a video on it, recapping what happened on Sunday and where we stand at this moment. If you haven't seen the highlights yet, here I'll post a clip of what transpired between the Peterborough Petes and Erie
Yeah,
Otters.
and yeah. Oh, here we go. Right off the face-off to Alex Messier. Going at it here right in front. We got two different guys going after him. Messier still trying to get loose as he was down with Dylan Turcotte and now with Francis Parrish as well. And Messier is red-hot mad. Messier still trying to get loose here against the official. Now his Femus comes in as well.
And Rob Wilson and Chris Millett look between the benches.
Big discussion going on here. And that's how you set the tone as a new head coach. Get the confidence of your guys. And the discussion continues right here. They are right in the faces of each other here. Chris Millett and Rob Wilson. I have never seen anything like this in my OHL career. Andrew Wilmot's having to come in.
Look at Messier, he's trying to go to the bench.
And everybody is grabbing at somebody. It is full chaos here. Both team benches clear. Both head coaches are in the face of each other. And a full discussion as the officials are off the ice between the benches.
I've never seen anything like this in my life.
So this happened during the second period at the Erie Insurance Arena where there was a situation right before the TV timeout where Charlie Burns was knocked down as he was heading towards the benches. It seemed like it was maybe incidental contact, but as a result of that, Alex Messier of the Erie Otters, decided to drop the gloves and went after Parrish of the Peterborough Petes. And Graydon Strohack, he then intervened, and we just had the third man in. So, of course, that's an automatic penalty to Strohack for that. But while this was going on, the head coaches of both teams, Rob Wilson and Chris Millett, ended up going nose to nose, as there's a section between the benches where you typically have security or even the off-ice broadcaster for the Erie Otters will be stationed. And, Wilson just wanting to voice his displeasure with the situation that was going on. You can also see that Messier, after being sent off the ice for the fight, actually put his hand on Wilson as there was a lot of tempers flaring between the benches. And right now, as it stands, we don't know how the disciplinary action is going to stand as both Wilson and Millett, they were escorted out as one of the referees ended up going off the ice to separate the two coaches. And yeah, the OHL, they are reviewing it. That was the latest statement that I've received in regards to the situation that happened between these two teams. But this is something you really don't see that often, coaches going at it. I can remember back when I was covering the Sudbury Wolves, there was a situation where the assistant coaches between Sudbury and Oshawa were having some words for one another over the glass that separates the two benches at the Tributes Community Center, but nothing like this between like we saw the other day. So obviously there will be a review that's going to take place, and we'll have to wait and see. Does Wilson and Millett end up being suspended, or are they going to be fines? Also for Messier and Strohack having they continuing their frustrations off the ice as well while the coaches were going at it. It was quite the scene, something that, bit of a throwback to when you watch old hockey videos from the early 90s or from the 1980s with the bench clearing brawls and whatnot, the coaches getting heated. But, cooler heads did prevail. Everyone was escorted off the ice, and that was the end of it. But for the Peterborough Petes, their playoff hopes have basically been dashed here. Mathematically, they still have a chance of making the playoffs, but these last three games have seen them involved in suspensions. Kaiser, he was suspended following an incident that happened at the Windsor Spitfires on Thursday, and also Braden McCallum and Calvin, there was a 2-game suspension to Braden McCallum. That was a result of a hair-pulling incident that happened in the game against the Brantford Bulldogs. And so you can just tell there's a lot of frustrations with this Peterborough Petes team as they close out the regular season. But give some credit to Millett here. He's only 2 weeks into his job at the Erie Otters and showing that he's got the backs of his players out on the ice. So Obviously, I think we can still expect to see some suspensions or fines coming out of this, but a very unique situation. And what's crazy too is the fact that these two teams are in opposite conferences. The Peterborough Petes play in the Eastern Conference and the Erie Otters in the West. So these two teams don't have a deep history of disliking one another because they only play each other twice a season. So it's one of those one-offs, I do believe. But also for the Erie Otters, they're fighting for potentially home ice advantage in the Western Conference. I think it's becoming a little out of reach as Saginaw's been one of the hotter teams, but they're showing passion, and that's all you can ask for as a fan, that you want to see that passion in this final stretch towards the postseason, which is only about 3 weeks away. So we're so close to playoff hockey. And if you were at the game, let me know in the comments below what that experience was like. I'm sure the atmosphere must have been something else between the Petes and the Otters. Now, some news items I wanted to get to today. First off, Joey Willis of the Kingston Frontenacs has signed his entry-level contract with the Nashville Predators. So I just wanted to touch on that because Joey Willis had a great run with the Saginaw Spirit last year, winning the Memorial Cup, and now bringing that experience to this Kingston Frontenacs team, which no one really gave too much attention to at the start of the regular season. And then they make that trade at the deadline. They've now won 14 games on home ice in a row, which is a new franchise record. And people are starting to take the Kingston Frontenacs a little more seriously than what we're expecting at the start of the year. So for Willis, having a pretty good year this year in 38 games, 44 points. That's 21 goals, 23 assists, and being rewarded for his efforts by the Nashville Predators. Another signing sees the Pittsburgh Penguins signing Finn Harding of the Brampton Steelheads to his 3-year entry-level contract. And I think this is great. He was drafted as a 19-year-old in the 7th round by the Pittsburgh Penguins. And for Finn Harding, he's not flashy. He's not going to do something that's going to, raise an eyebrow. He is a steady player. And that's kind of what you need at times from your defense. And for Finn Harding, he's playing on a Brampton Steelheads team that's really picked it up. And I think it's great to see him being rewarded for his efforts, because typically players are drafted when they're 18, but Harding having to wait that extra year, selected 223rd overall by the Penguins, and it'll be great to see what he can do. He's right now, he set a franchise record for plus minus in a single season, and he's on pace to surpass that. So Finn Harding, one of the steady defensemen on the Ontario Hockey League, and it's great to see him getting some recognition for his efforts. And the third signing I want to touch on here, the Vegas Golden Knights have signed Trent Swick of the Kitchener Rangers. And Swick, he was drafted in the 6th round by the Knights at 180th overall. And he's a pretty big forward if you've seen him play yet. He stands 6'7", having a career year with the Kitchener Rangers. He's got 26 goals, 56 points through 54 games, so just over a point per game. And we'll see how his game will translate to the Vegas Golden Knights, as it's a great time of year when we start seeing players signing their entry-level contracts. I expect to see a few more here over the next couple of months before the NHL draft. And these are just the first 3 to talk about here in the spring. We're not at the spring yet, but we're very close. So congrats to Swick, Harding, and Joey Willis. And finally, I know this is not a political channel. We talk sports, but with the news coming about the tariffs and all that, there's been a lot of questions about the new arenas being built in Brantford and Sudbury. What kind of impact will that have on these projects going forward? Well, Greater Sudbury City Council, some members were wanting to delay the project. Of course, Sudbury wanting to build a $200 million new facility. It would be located across the street from the current Sudbury Community Arena. And they've decided that they're going to build it there. That was recently voted on at a meeting. But with all the question marks about tariffs, there's some on council who are a little hesitant about this project going forward. And I know when I first talked about the new arena deal, there was a lot of Sudbury Wolves fans that are taking the position of, I'm going to wait and see it to believe it because of the history of Sudbury City Council in the past. But right now, the plan is to pour the foundation in 2026 and then have construction in 2027. Also, at the end of this month, they should sign a contract with a developer, and they really want to take the model that the City of London took in 2002 when they built what was known as the John Labatt Centre at the time. Of course, it's now Canada Life Place. But that's the model they want to go with, a downtown facility that is within the streets design, so they don't need to dig up any streets or redefine the downtown core. But still some good news there. They're moving ahead with this project, although I'm sure some Wolves fans a little skeptical here now that we're hearing some members of council having some hesitation or second thoughts about this contract or this arena going forward. But I wanted to mention that here because this is the OHL. Our channel focuses on the OHL, and even though politics will sometimes creep its way into the sports scene, this is one of those circumstances. So right now, the plan is to continue to move forward with the $200 million facility. And I haven't heard otherwise about the city of Brantford. It sounds like that plan is still going ahead to build their new facility. But if I hear anything else, I'll mention it here on the channel. So that's how I see it from the booth. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you again soon.